Are you exhausted from giving too much and getting so little back? Self-sacrifice can look like love, but sometimes it's self-abandonment wearing love's clothes. And the goal is not to become less generous, it's to become generous without disappearing. Today we're going into the survival pattern of people-pleasing, why boundaries alone sometimes don't solve it, and how the light masculine archetype can help you to reclaim your voice, your energy, and your capacity to serve without depletion. If you've ever said yes while your body screamed no, shrunk yourself to keep the peace, maybe you've given and still felt unseen or felt guilty the moment that you chose yourself. It's not necessarily a personality flaw, and it's not evidence that there's something wrong with who you are. It may be a learnt protective pattern, a loop, a strategy that once helped you to maintain connection. And what was learned, it can be updated. We've been sold a strange idea that being nice automatically makes us good. But nice is different from being true, and generosity is different to self-erasure. You can be compassionate and still say no. You can love someone and disappoint them. You can serve without becoming responsible for everyone else's comfort. Your soul came here to be real instead of being endlessly agreeable. You've probably tried to change this, setting boundaries, working on your confidence, and repeating affirmations. Maybe telling yourself, I need to stop people-pleasing. And maybe it worked for a while. Then someone that you love may have looked disappointed, gotten angry, they may have withdrawn or needed something from you. And suddenly your old yes came flying out of your mouth, because sometimes this is more than a mindset issue. Your conscious mind, it may know that you're allowed to say no, while your body, it still associates no with danger. At some point, your system may have learned, if I'm agreeable, I stay connected. If I'm useful, I belong. If I make other people comfortable, I'm safer. Maybe love felt more available when you were helpful. Maybe conflict meant withdrawal and disagreement brought punishment. Maybe being easy made life more predictable. So your body learned a strategy. Watch the room. Notice what everyone else needs. Anticipate it and then give it. Stay likable, stay useful, stay safe. And these adaptations may have been intelligent at the time, but if they're still running automatically now, you can end up abandoning your own needs before anybody else even has the chance. And this is an important distinction. People-pleasing is more than kindness. It's kindness entangled with fear. Giving with unconscious contracts attached. I'll take care of you and hopefully you won't reject me. I'll make myself useful and hopefully that guarantees my place. I won't disappoint you and hopefully you'll keep loving me. And that's exhausting because now your generosity is carrying the weight of your safety. When something overwhelms us, our body prepares to react. Fight, flight, freeze and fawn, muscles tensing, breath changing, our voices changing, impulses getting interrupted. And sometimes the response that we wanted to make never gets completed. Maybe you wanted to say no. Maybe you wanted to push something away, to speak, to cry, to shout, or to leave. You may have held back asking for help as it didn't feel possible. So instead, you adapted. And over time, that adaptation can become habitual. The body recognizes a familiar situation and it runs an old response before the conscious mind is caught up. And that's why someone can understand boundaries intellectually and can still feel panic when they actually look to set one. Instead of attacking that pattern, the work is about observing it and learning about what it was trying to protect. then giving the body new experiences, new options to respond with, and then reinforcing those choices that we made. It's about new permissions. If a no was swallowed, we practice finding the no. If the voice disappeared, we practice expression. If the body learned contraction, we practice expanding safely. If giving became compulsory, we practice choice. And importantly, we also practice receiving. Because some people who overserve feel safest when they're needed. They know how to give, to help, and how to carry everyone else. But when someone says, "Let me help you," something inside of them may say, "No, I've got it." Receiving can feel vulnerable because receiving means admitting that we have needs as well. There's already a part of you that knows another way. In the archetypal work that I use, we call this the light masculine. It appears through archetypes like the lover, the poet, the priest, the priestess, the devotee, and the wisdom keeper, and it's beyond gender. The integrated light masculine is deeply generous, but it does not give to purchase belonging. It gives through devotion. It asks, what is actually worthy of my energy? It protects what's sacred, speaks clearly, it tells the truth, and it creates boundaries so that its energy can be offered intentionally. It knows something that the people-pleasing pattern forgets, that instead of reducing love, sometimes a boundary is what allows love to remain genuine. The integrated light masculine can say, "I love you," and no. "I care," and "I choose not to do that." "I want to help, but I don't have capacity today. In fact, I have something that I need to do." And that discernment, it's a self-sensitivity. So how do we actually shift this? In the transformational work that I use, we combine archetypal statements with body-based practices. We do this to find where the pattern still has emotional charge, and then we move it. You might say, "I'm allowed to disappoint someone," and feel your stomach tighten. You might say, "My needs matter too," and suddenly your throat contracts. And these responses are useful information. They show us where old patterns are still active. After identifying them, we work with breath, body, voice, movement, and sound. Instead of forcing an emotion, we express what was previously suppressed and that's been stored, that's still waiting. And the body may shake, you may feel heat, a twitch, a twinge, a tightening, a spontaneous breath, an urge to move. Sometimes emotion comes, sometimes nothing dramatic happens at all. The goal is greater capacity, greater sensitivity, greater choice. Emotions are energy in motion. And when we stop spending enormous amounts of energy suppressing ourselves, that energy, it becomes available for life, for creativity, for intimacy, for truth, and for purpose. As the ritual shifts the state of your body, you have the option to pair that experience with scent. Smell has an unusually direct relationship with memory and emotion. So when you repeatedly pair a scent with a state that you're cultivating, presence, clarity, devotion, self-respect, then the scent can become a ritual cue, a reminder that this is the state that I'm practicing. This is the part of myself that I'm choosing to embody. Not because perfume magically creates transformation, but because ritual helps us to remember. The transformation is different to now forcing yourself to say no. It's that no becomes available. You're able to notice your capacity before agreeing. You stop answering immediately. Finding your truth, you say things like, "Let me think about that." And you receive without immediately looking for a way to repay the debt. And eventually, You stop measuring your worth by how useful you are. One client told me that after working with this pattern, she said no to her family in a situation she normally would have overridden herself in, and that what surprised her was not that she simply said no, it was that afterwards she felt calm. And that's a very different experience from forcing a boundary while your entire body believes that you're committing a crime. The shift is more than behavioral, it's becoming someone whose body increasingly knows, I can remain connected and still remain myself. I know this pattern personally. I used to overgive, losing myself in becoming useful and avoiding conflict that way, hiding inside other people's needs. And for a long time, I treated it as something that I needed to think my way out of, to communicate more truthfully, to set better boundaries. But understanding the pattern intellectually, to become free from it, that wasn't enough. What changed things was learning to stay present when my body wanted to revert to the familiar response, to notice the contraction, feel what was there, and to find expression within myself, and then I was capable to choose again. Imagine this. Someone asks you for something, and instead of automatically saying yes, you actually check. Do I want to? Do I have capacity? Is this mine to carry? You speak freely. You set boundaries clearly. You give from fullness instead of from fear. You can help someone without becoming responsible for them. You can love someone without rescuing them. You can let someone struggle without immediately taking over. And you can receive support without believing that you've become weak. You feel calmer, grounded, and clear. Your generosity becomes more powerful because it's chosen. That version of you is waiting inside, and the work is allowing more of that expression to become available. If something in this resonated, pay attention to that. Notice where your yes is actually a no. Notice where helping has become automatic. Notice how your body responds when you imagine disappointing someone. And this is the work that we explore through pairing our Foundations program with the Light Masculine Archetypal add-on. You also have the option of the Light Masculine perfume as a ritual anchor. There's no need to please the entire world. Your energy is sacred. Your voice matters. Your no matters. And your yes, it means far more when you're actually free to give it. If this resonated, explore more of our archetypal work. We work with 4 core archetypal energies that shape how we give and receive, how we act, relate, lead, and create. And in the next video, you're not lazy, you're unclaimed power. We move into the dark masculine, and we explore why what looks like procrastination can sometimes be a much deeper relationship with power, decision, and action. It should be on the screen in just a moment.